you want. All eyes on a couple of players. Yuan Xinyue, one of the players, important for that slight comeback at the end there in the third set, where there were a couple of set point opportunities for VakifBank the last time around in that third set, and they will be feeling that, those mistakes, a little heavier on their minds, certainly, as Coach Guidetti mentioned, the errors. They'll be looking to cut those down and really fight to keep their volleyball looking clean against Fenerbahçe here today. The highest of honors to be on the court in this Champions League tournament in the quarterfinal stage. All eyes on the players and all the players' eyes on the prize. The whistle is blown. Second match of the quarterfinals underway. Fenerbahçe Medicana taking on VakifBank Istanbul here in Turkey for a spot in the next round. First point goes VakifBank's way on the right side. And Christina called for reaching over, so the point will land. Yuan Xinyue, first server. And an ace serve, that'll be a great start. Beautifully done. The Chinese middle blocker, 28-year-old, taking things into her own hands to get going. And this was one of the points of contention for VakifBank in the last match. Keeping those service errors to a minimum and the pressure to a maximum. Vargas stops it. Into the hands of Markova. Aslı Kalaç, 29-year-old Turkish middle blocker. She's going to have her go from the end line. Solid serve. Markova in the response with some heat. Now I'm already feeling a different energy from VakifBank just off the beginning. A couple of changes in the lineups as well. Cansu getting the starting role. She heads back to serve. One of the go-to international setters for Turkey. And her Turkish teammate in the national team, Erdam Dundar, who we didn't see on court last time around, interestingly, because she had played in every match between these two in Champions League leading up to one last week. Ace serve. Yes, indeed. There it is. Called it from the bat. Off the hand of Vargas. Almost impossible to read. She has power and precision. We talked about 4 errors last time, no aces. We knew she was coming out firing this time. Goes for it again. 2 in a row. Yes, indeed. Looking really comfortable here today. Can she go for 3? The 25-year-old Turkish-Cuban opposite goes for a third, and she is not messing around. Melissa Vargas is on another level, calling her own number. And the angle spin on that serve. Can she go 4? Oh, that's close. Doesn't get the ace, but certainly gets VakifBank on their heels. Great cover. Christina again. Looks to tickle the sideline, just called wide. Well, that's a little bit of luck there for VakifBank getting Vargas off the line, but how about those 3 aces in a row? First touch of the ball, and I called it out to you in the warm-up. that Vargas had 4 errors, no aces, and we knew that as one of the best servers in the world, she was going to turn that on, and indeed she did. Markova has a chance for Vakif. Tip from Dundar, and that's kept in play. Great cover. Here comes Anna Cristina. Over the top, looking for the deep court. She finds it. The Brazilian outside hitter, still just 20 years old, gets the bump set out of system. Look at the height on that, passing Van Ryk in the block. 6-4 lead for Fenerbahçe. Markova finds herself the target again and again. Van Ryk gets VakifBank out of some hot water. Well, it's getting relatively quiet in the stadium every time VakifBank gets a point. So you can definitely feel whose energy the crowd is for. It is for Fenerbahçe. Fenerbahçe with one of the highest swings in the gym. Dundar. Off hands, chance again. One more cross-court swing, that's high. Tip into the block to recycle goes Bozzetti. Van Ryk does the same. Again into hands, this time no recycling to be done, all blocking for Fenerbahçe. As the Kalac redirecting the ball with her arms towards the middle of the court. 8-5 lead. Captain, Turkish middle blocker, Dundar with the serve. Cansu's off the net. And with that goes the ball of Van Ryk. She's thinking about a touch, perhaps asking for a challenge. Indeed, we will have it. 2 challenges are at the disposal of each coach. Well, the ball in real time for me looked out of bounds. Tough to tell till you get that replay, though. All it needs is the tiniest of spins off the fingertips. I always like to have a look at the players' faces as well, see how convinced they are of the challenge or of the point. Van Ryk looking ever so slightly unsure. Here we go then. Let's have a look. Touch is called. Point stays with VakifBank. Great challenge by Guidetti. The 26-year-old Canadian now to serve. Too much on it. Those were the errors that Guidetti certainly was speaking to his team about. You can imagine after 18 errors given up in the serve last time, they will be keeping a hawk's eye on those numbers again today. Tip from Bozzetti. High ball outside. Fedotseva goes for a rip. Does she get the touch? No touch from the blockers, straight into the net. Now I'm almost wondering if that's worth some kind of challenge, but indeed not from that angle. Down the line towards the antenna. Sometimes you'll get a little touch from the blockers. It has to be in the zone of the blockers at least, though. Vargas nails it on the sideline. Power is her middle name. How about that cut inside the arms of the blockers? Even Guidetti has to let him know. A little love and basketball action there. Fedotseva comes in hot. Markova tries to return the favor. That's tipped and kept in play. And from the backcourt, count it. Gizem Orge getting involved as well in the defense with the pancake. The former VakifBank libero comes firing in. And that is teamwork at its finest. Timeout called. VakifBank find themselves down by 4.
Double in defense on fast, eh? El file on fast, eh? El file on fast in
Well, Fenerbahçe coming out firing the way they did in the last match. You thought you saw a little sliver of hope there in the beginning for VakifBank, but those 3 aces in a row from Vargas really set the tone. Strong, aggressive serving is the name of the game for Fenerbahçe. Excellent pickup. Tight, but just wide. Free point for Vakif. VakifBank looking to close the gap here. Not going to happen. Not on Vargas's watch. The Golden Girl continues on theme. Beautiful set from the Serbian Dircha. And it's the speed and the height that contribute to making that such a difficult ball to attend to. Some confusion, some substitution. Aurelia Karasoy, 28-year-old Turkish setter, in for Aslı Kalaç. She's in to serve. This was something we saw last time around as well. Drops it short on Bozzetti. Güneş can't find her rhythm. Here comes Vargas in response, and she'll nail it. Deep corner, that's the go-to. And keep watching how Vargas distributes her offense. This time sharp inside the blocker's arms, deep into the corner. You saw her hit one external rotation into the cross. You've seen her go line already. Just pay attention to how she is utilizing every area. Still a 13-9 lead for Fenerbahçe. An 8-year-old Turkish setter, Cansu. She's looking for Fenerbahçe. Erdam Dundar, excuse me. Does not get past, and VakifBank looking to catch up with a couple of points here. Vargas straight into those long arms of Markova. Very little real estate to get past. Ooh, Vargas. Too much heat. Good sportsmanship there with the apologies. Kiera Van Ryk, wrong place, wrong time, but how about those angles? This is what makes Vargas one of the best in the world. 3 aces last time. Looks for another one, gets a very strong start. But Markova gets her off the line. That is a win, a small mini win for VakifBank. Markova over the hands of the blockers, and even Vargas herself could hardly believe where that came from. Just getting a taste of her own medicine. Markova, who spent some time in Novara, also in Indonesia. Before this, the Russian goes for some heat on the serve. Quick to Dundar. She is denied again by Güneş. Those two will know each other so well, playing together, a national team. In fact, Güneş likely growing up watching Dundar as one of her idols. Oh, solid serve. Confusion reigning. Ball has to go over. Indeed it does. Back to the middle again. Outside. Tip kept in play by Bozzetti. Markova with nothing to do. That entire rally, scrappy and ugly. And apologies, Zehra Güneş. I think I've been calling her Katerina Bozzetti this whole time. 24-year-old Turkish outside hitter in for VakıfBank. Topspin. Here comes Markova. She's denied, and Dundar having some success at the net. She's been at Fenerbahçe since 2008. Patrolling the net is what she does best. 16-12 lead. Again, a powerful serve on Aykaç. But a response good enough from VakifBank. And the silence in the gym is deafening. Drops it, nails it, ace serve, Güneş. VakifBank on a roll to improve their serving. That is masterful. What a camera angle as well from our crew. The response rapid. Fenerbahçe, one of those players, you can just throw the ball to her. And that's barely out of system. But look at the angles, and I'm loving that we even have this camera angle available to us, because it really gives you an overhead bird's eye view of just the movement happening on the court in any given moment. There's good width on that set, but even better strength of the shoulders as the Kalaç denying the likes of Çebiçoğlu. Quick timeout, 18-14 for VakifBank.
Inside out, double reception. Is the ball to think and patient. Okay, if there is no block, we keep. Remember, they are following you. Play pipe for a long way, pipe for a long way. Let's go! Oh, meet the blocker. This is good.
Well, one of my favorite parts about getting the microphone in those timeouts is that we get a little bit of the strategy. Coach Guidetti looking at his setter saying, hey, they're following you when you're moving. So that just basically means the middle blocker is going with Cansu wherever she's moving. So he'd like her to play those long distance sets. He wants her to push it out to the wings, maybe use that ball in the pipe, but just keep away from the middle who's following her. That close ball, a dangerous one, he's saying. That one looking good to Xinyue. Doesn't matter though, Fenerbahçe underneath the arms of the block. How about that pickup? Erdam Dundar. Stand up, man, because a defense from a middle blocker, I'll harp on this all day long, it counts for double in my mind. Oh, yes, please. Another ace serve on the money. Those ones sting more than you know. The dribblers off the net. A couple of players just looking at each other. All they can afford to do is that All the firepower just sucked out of the ball at the net. A 20-14 lead. All things pointing towards a Fenerbahçe win of the first set. Meanwhile, Kiera Van Ryk just taking care of a couple of finger issues. VakifBank need to find a response here. Erdam, who was the best middle of the Champions League in 2022, is at the line to serve. One of the veterans coming off a cheeky net dribbling ace. Will she go for another? Yes, deep into the corner, and it goes tight, and that ball will land for Fenerbahçe. Jansu cannot reach over the net. She's a backcourt setter at present and not allowed to take any kind of offensive action above the plane of the net. Shorter serve on Markova, and another ace serve. Erdam Dundar making her presence known. We saw her not for even a split second in the last match, and now she is all over this court. More ways than one. Having fun with it. Backcourt attack. Markova cannot find a way through. Trying to avoid Kalac in the block. No luck. VakifBank have to find some solutions. One of them, bring in American Ali Franti, who also didn't see the court last time around. 29-year-old American outside hitter. Takes that first contact. Swing from Van Ryk. Gets it done. Just dribbles off the hands. 23-15 lead. Van Ryk on the serve. The Canadian opposite. Looks for Fedorovtseva. Gets herself an ace serve. Just good enough. Powerful to get that overpass. Yuan Xinyue cleaning it up at the net. Van Ryk, the best server of the VNL in 2022. Goes for it, and another ace serve down the line. That'll do nicely. Looking to mount a comeback here. The change of direction, drastic. Same target, different side of her body. Quick timeout now on Fenerbahçe's side. Couple of strong serves from Van Ryk, putting VakifBank in a better position to fight, but still 6 points down, and Fenerbahçe on the verge of taking this first set. And that timeout doing its job. Call that a coach's timeout. Get the server a little rattled, get them off the service line and into their own heads. That brings up set point, Fenerbahçe. Dürçer with a short serve. There's the swing on the outside, and it is Bozetti. back in the mix to have that swing and get the touches. Just enough off the fingertips, and that's what she's known for, her specialty. Going high and hard off the fingers. Still set point, Fenerbahçe. Kalac can't put it down. Here comes Franti, off hands. Tip is read well. High ball back behind to Van Ryk. Beautiful pickup from Franti coming in from the other side of the court, making sure that tip did not fall. Good communication there on VakifBank's side. Set point still for Fenerbahçe. One more swing on the outside, Fenerbahçe. Off the block of Franti, free ball coming. Deep into the corner, easily handled from VakifBank. Chance for Van Ryk. Goes high, goes long, goes out of bounds. Now we're looking around here. Was the ball called in or out? Here's the swing. High off the hands, not even close from where we're standing. Didn't look like it caught any fingers at all. No challenge. Point goes to Fenerbahçe, and with that goes the set. (25-19). What a run. Fenerbahçe coming out full guns blazing to take this first set. Now, as a reminder, they need just 2 sets to finish it off. Let's have a look at the stats, shall we? I'm looking at those aces. 5-3, both these teams not pulling any punches when it comes to that first. Make sure you head over to social media. Give us a hashtag, give us a chat, give us a follow. Just let us know just whatever you're thinking about, really. We're here to listen. We're here for you. Champions League, we're all family at the end of the day. Set number 2. VakifBank must do work here. Set number 2, VakifBank to serve. Jansu going short on Fenerbahçe and gets it right back at her as the Kalac with the change of direction over the shoulder middle blocker attack. Look at the speed on that, one of the fastest arms around. Zehra throws that ball to the middle of the court, and the response is another block this time. Kalac in the right place at the right time defensively. Nowhere to go for Van Ryk. 2 big arms in front of her.
High ball. So we use the weakest spot. And out of the middle blocker. We don't attack in the court. We attack outside the court of position 4. And we use position 2. High there.
Coach Guidetti, you can't help but feel the stress on his side, asking his players to swing out of the block, not to aim towards the middle. That has not been successful. Another solid serve. Chance on the outside. Markova goes off the hands, and that's exactly the difference there. Now you can understand why Van Ryk was having a little bit of hesitancy to swing high onto the hands, but that's the idea. Aim for the fingertips, aim for the wrists. The danger, of course, is that the blockers are not there, or they're too low and the ball goes way out into the stands. Markova looks for Urge. Tip in play. High ball again behind. Fenerbahçe with a quick arm. Chance again, it's free. This time, where's it going? Back to the Russian, who's defended. It has to go over. Maybe it doesn't. Quick response, one more time. And VakifBank take the point. What a hustle from Jansu to pick that ball up in the defense. Sprinting to keep it in play. And eventually Van Ryk off the hands to keep it tied up at 2s. VakifBank have a mountain to climb, but that's a great start, an ace serve. Markova between two players. Watch that angle and the shoulders of the defenders. The receivers moving away from each other. That miscommunication, tragic. Markova again. Better. But it'll count as an ace serve, no second touch. And Fenerbahçe frustrated, as you can imagine. The Russian on Russian pressure. That'll call a timeout.
Talk about this. Will be not easy, eh? Will be not easy. We need to continue to fight. When we have chance to cause some action, we have to cause. Because they don't have capability, but they will don't stop to play. Will be not easy, eh? Stay focused, eh? Stay focused.
Coach Fenolio on Fenerbahçe's side with a clear message. It will not be easy. We must stay focused. I think that's the expectation here, is that VakifBank might just roll over, but if you've ever played at this level and against VakifBank, you know this is not a team to do that. High ball swing. There was some change there in the rotation, allowing Fenerbahçe out of the reception to go over and attack on the other side. Still doesn't pay off. VakifBank coming back with some steam. Markova at the end line again. Couple of aces in her pocket. Better change for VakifBank, excuse me, for Fenerbahçe. They'll be happy with that. Onto the net. Error. Fenerbahçe's chance to do her style from the end line. Top spin. Oh, the pressure those two have put on each other. Undeniable. And the rundown lands out of bounds. A good touch from Güneş, just enough. Fenerbahçe, the 21-year-old, been with Fenerbahçe since 2021 as well. Again on Markova. Has to be a free ball from Bozzetti. Kalac will put it past. Point by point. One motion after the other. Trying to build that enthusiasm, that momentum back up after VakifBank had a little bit of a bump there. It's a 5-5 tied up. Fenerbahçe. Powerful down the middle on eye catch. But it's VakifBank again, not relenting through Van Ryk. Now this is what happened last time around. Van Ryk finding her footing as the match progressed. A 1-point lead, Fenerbahçe. Ball drops short. Here comes the outside swing, and that will tie it up. Anna Cristina, who's been relatively quiet in terms of offense so far, putting that ball exactly where she needs to. Middle blockers just served. That's always a good idea in terms of strategy, where to attack. Kalach gets a tight ball swing from Yuan Xinyue. High outside, Anna Cristina again with the deep swing just past the hands of, Yuan Xinyue. Kalach was the best middle of the Turkish league in 2022. Then a strong serve, cannot defend it, however. On the right side, Kiera Van Ryk bringing some heat. The MVP of the Polish league in 2021, trying to find a way for VakifBank to get in here. Slicing on the outside of the block. She'll go for a serve. Had some success earlier in the set. Ball called out of bounds, point handed to VakifBank. Hard to tell from that angle, but no touches on it. There will be a challenge from Fenerbahçe. Anna Cristina certain that that ball was tagging the line, and of course it only has to touch by an inch, half an inch, a centimeter, just a hair. That's more than a hair from where I'm standing. A little bit of wishful thinking on VakifBank's side. Point stays with Medicana. Another ace serve, Melissa Vargas. She is delivering time and time again, putting on a show for the fans. This is the Vargas that we know from national team, from the summertime. Biennale Olympics, this is what she delivers. High ball, Bozzetti denied. Big stuff block from Dundar. Ball just way too tight for Bozzetti to do much with. Of course, that huge height advantage of the middle blocker on Turkish side. 10-7 lead, Fenerbahçe. And Vargas still at the line. Van Ryk dug. And a little bit of luck for VakifBank. The blockers called with a touch at the net. That sends Bozzetti back to serve. The 31-year-old Italian played in Novara last season. 2-point lead for the other side. Third set, there she is. We hadn't seen it for way too long. You had to know it was coming. She had a whole lot of joy with that last time these two met. She's front court. The blockers see her, but she is just too quick. Anna Christina, Olympic silver medalist from Tokyo. Strong serve, doesn't go down. Instead, there's a pop in the defense, and it's still in play. Ball comes over, VakifBank asking if it's out. It's not yet. Well, the whistle does come late, but better late than never. One of these balls, first of all, great rundown, and here's the contention point, is whether or not that ball came out of bounds as it crossed the net. And you see Erdam Dundar giving the thumbs up there. She agrees. That point was out of bounds. High swing, block even higher. Jansu feeling it. Fenerbahçe up against 3 blockers. Absolutely nowhere to go, straight in the middle of Güneş. Yuan Xinyue, best middle blocker of the Chinese league in 2024, gets another point on the board for Fenerbahçe to follow. There's VakifBank with an ace serve on the libero, middle on libero. Fenerbahçe responding. Defense with the one-arm stab. Doesn't come back. Vargas from the backcourt. We haven't seen a whole lot of defense coming from the backcourt yet from either team. Of course, when you have the likes of Melissa Vargas on your side, you should certainly use her whenever you can. Ball's off the net. Outside, Markova unleashes. Now, she had to pass that first ball as well, so she already is getting into it with a little bit of momentum, the movement, the rhythm you get from passing that first ball going into an offense. Jansu deep on Anna Christina. Tip from Dirtshot, gets some rhythm going. Scramble play, easy pickup for Fenerbahçe, but the block is there, denying Kalach. The Güneş, Markova, special. And look at the movement as well. Markova understanding early that she needs to be a part of that block. Jansu on the line. She's looking for Gizem. But it's not gonna work. VakifBank are on a roll. That's a couple times in a row, and you see Dirtshot trying to repeat that set, but Güneş will take that gladly. Substitution on Fenerbahçe's side. Aurelia Karasoy. Saw her come in for the serve last set. She played in Nantes last season in France. A direct setter for setter substitution does not pay off, as it's now Vargas who is denied 3 blocks in a row from Güneş. Markova at the center of that as well, and that is a strong looking block. Markova at 2 meters high, the Russian disallowing any kind of offense coming her way.
Markova jump on, say on middle blocker, then is super 4 or ball for Miller. With middle blocker we play only G or double G. No one. One is only for super. Don't pass the ball for one.
Coach Fernolio trying to make very clear what the blockers of VakifBank are doing. And he's mentioned that Markova is paying attention, specifically helping with the middle blockers when there's a good ball. So he's saying, hey, you can run the chi or the double chi. That means push it a little bit away in front of you. You don't want to run the middle right directly on your head as the setter, because she will be helping on that block. You can always run it back to Vargas. Outside to Fenerbahçe, looking for a touch. No such touch. And look at Guidetti. Hands in the air. He is feeling it, as this is the first time we've really seen any kind of struggle on Fenerbahçe's side. They seem to have been in rhythm all match long so far, including the previous match between these two. So things starting to look like they're going VakifBank's way. Strong serve will help. That, however, is what we're used to seeing out of Fenerbahçe. A 3-point lead for Vakif. A drop serve on eye catch. Play continues. Vargas with the tip. High ball behind. Bozzetti tries to do something. It's Van Ryk now to clean it up, but the block is good. A monster block. This time shutting down VakifBank's offense. Fenerbahçe teaming up with Kalac. Two-point lead. Chipping away comes Fenerbahçe. Solid serve. It's an overpass, and you know what that means. Kalac ready and waiting to take a rip. BNL bronze medalist from 2021. She knows an overpass when she sees it, and the change of direction is what does it there. Just the wrist snap. And the lead has been cut to 1. The pressure is back on VakifBank. They still have the lead in this second set, but just by 1. Ball in play. Back to Van Ryk. Can't find the distance. Markova into hands. That's recycled. Going again. Jansu back outside. Deep defense from Anna Cristina. Can Vargas put it away? No, it's another tip. Read well by Fenerbahçe. Down the middle to Bozzetti. Another defense on Fener's side. And finally, it is the Yellow Angels to get that ball on the floor. It took them a little while. But how about that defense? Anna Cristina all over, patrolling the backcourt. And Fenerbahçe changing up her shot down the line. No defense in sight. Tied up again, 16s. Katasoy on the service line again. Very close to the corner, just out of bounds. That puts VakifBank back 1 point in the lead. Markova, one of the better servers here tonight. Spent some time in the University of Florida in the USA. Markova, if you can believe it, former middle blocker. Playing in that big swinging position now. Difficult to make that transition, but she's been successful, as you can imagine. Vargas having some success of her own. Off the hands of Güneş. Out of bounds. Point Fenerbahçe, 17s. Pressure high for both sides. Overpass. Excellent work on VakifBank's side. Güneş forcing a point for her team. And again, anytime that ball comes tight to the net off a serve, it's almost a given point. Almost an ace serve, but close enough. High for Vargas, who goes for touches, and she is one of the better in the world at those out-of-system plays. If you look at her footwork, keeps her body open to the set that's coming from basically behind her. Way on the other side of the court from Anna Cristina, and still manages to swing at it as if it were a perfect set. Liza Safronova. The 19-year-old Turkish outside hitter comes in for the serve. Still down by 2. VakifBank relentless here in the second set. Jansu playing that long distance swing out to Kiera Van Ryk. Playing the cat and mouse game with the blockers. Change up on VakifBank's side as well. Alec Franti coming in for Jansu. So I'm having a look on court. I don't see any setter on VakifBank's side. They'll have to remember that if the ball does come their way. If this defense happens, which it doesn't, ball goes out of bounds, point stays with the VakifBank, and that's the power of substituting a blocker. So there is no setter, but there is a stronger blocking presence, and you saw that. Fenerbahçe sending that ball away from Franti's block. 3-point lead. Van Ryk has the green light to serve. And Fenerbahçe doesn't need to be asked twice to take a big rip from the backcourt. Got 2 blockers kind of closing up to it, throwing their bodies together, getting the touch, but it's out of bounds. Vargas was the best server in the Chinese league in 2022. She's been with Fenerbahçe since 2018, but did spend some time in Zurich in China as well, just perfecting her craft. Well, that'll be a welcome addition to VakifBank. 3 aces in the first set. An error is exactly what VakifBank needed in that moment. Three-point lead, and coming down to the wire here, VakifBank still fighting to stay alive in the quarterfinals. Tip is read by 3 players, but still finds the floor. Fenerbahçe managing to do some damage everywhere she is on court. Even out of system, so she's looking like that's not the set she wants to swing at. Can't find her footing and still manages to put the point on her side. Couple of points from the end line, too many. This was what VakifBank were suffering from in match number 1. Remember, 18 service errors they had, and they must have sworn up and down to their coach they wouldn't give away those points for free. And now they're getting them for free from Fenerbahçe this time around. High ball back to Vargas from the pipe. That has been a winning combination. Throw that ball up in the middle back. Whether it's Vargas or Fenerbahçe, they are doing damage from that area over and over again. VakifBank up by 2. High ball, it's out of system. Markova goes over the block. Chance for Fenerbahçe, and she's dug. Too tight. Fenerbahçe take it. danger zone as they creep back into the scoreline. VakifBank cannot afford to let Fenerbahçe back into this set, down just by 1. We saw in set number 3 of the last match, there were a few points back and forth. Fenerbahçe had chances to push it to a 4th set. They couldn't close it out. Is that going to be what happens again here today? An error leads Fenerbahçe to tie it up at 23s. That ball way inside, and Markova nowhere to go but outside of the block. (23-23). 2 points between Fenerbahçe and going to the semifinals. Güneş wants to make sure that does not happen. And that's one of the first time we've seen her involved in the offense. I love that choice by Cansu. Set point, VakifBank. Down the line, Fenerbahçe, she'll take the first. Vargas comes firing in, and it is denied. VakifBank have managed to hold on to the second set and deny the pleasure to the Fenerbahçe fans. There has not been a more decisive block than this final. Güneş with all things going her way. We are tied up, 1 set apiece. You had to be on the edge of your seat knowing that if Fenerbahçe had managed to take those last couple of points, this would be a very different looking match. It would have been over, it would have been done, but instead, VakifBank, in true VakifBank style, have not given up. Now reminder, there have been a couple times in Champions League history where these two teams have faced off, and it has gone to a golden set tie break, and VakifBank has won both of them. Let's see what happens here today. Well, you can finally breathe again no matter what side you're rooting for, because that second set was one for the books. Have a look, 3 aces for VakifBank, and that's exactly what they needed, was to put that pressure on Fenerbahçe from that contact. They did a great job of slowing down Melissa Vargas there. She had 4 aces so far in the match, but she was much quieter in the second. Fenerbahçe 10 points so far on the match. Vargas with 14. Those are the 2 go-tos for Fenerbahçe's side. Set number 3. Here we go. We're tied at 1 set apiece. Fenerbahçe and Fenerbahçe on the first serve, looking for a big swing. To the naked eye, it did look out of bounds. Let's have another. Ooh, close. That is very close. Potentially worth a challenge, but I have a feeling Fenerbahçe is going to save those challenges for later in the set. Big swing from Vargas. That will do nicely to get things going back for Fenerbahçe's side. A little awkward looking swing, out of system only against one blocker, but still manages to do some kind of body contortion to get it past. Kalac looking for Markova. She will get the first chance to swing. That's covered. Going again to the Russian, who's looking for sideline. Called out of bounds, but. Will we have a challenge? Kalac adamant that it was out of bounds, and indeed we do have a challenge from Giovanni Guarecci's side. Again, the ball only has to tag the line by a hair to be considered in. 1% in is the same as 100% in. And there you go. No arguments there. Well, there have been a couple of balls like that so far this match that haven't been as close in reality as they were called in real time. That's what we get when these players are hitting so hard and so fast. The human eye, it's hard to detect. Two points apiece. Markova had 11 points in the last match. She'll be relied on, or in the last set, excuse me, the last two sets. They're gonna need a lot more out of her again here in the third. High ball to Van Ryk. She goes for a big rip, and she gets it. Van Ryk had 9 points in the first two sets. Struggled a little to find exactly where she wanted to swing. She was going high, missing the fingertips. That time does not take any chances. Güneş. Ball cross court from the captain. Count it. Erdam Dundar. One of the best slide attacks possibly over her career as any middle blocker. Solid serve, we're up at threes. Van Ryk again, this time dug. Durcha just sitting on that cross angle. Response is good. VakifBank saying not this time. On the outside, Fenerbahçe finds herself a little bit tight into the hands directly of Van Ryk. You see she's closing up the line as well there. That's a perfect setup of that block. Nowhere for Fenerbahçe to go. Van Ryk. Power, but a little less precision. Van Ryk, one of the players certainly on VakifBank's side who has the green light to serve her best serve. Sometimes coaches will say, want you to serve in this particular zone or at this player. I have a feeling Van Ryk's just one of those, hey, just put your best serve in. What a rundown, coming back. Free ball from the captain. Markova can't find the floor just yet. Vargas returns the favor. Free ball coming in, push from Durcha. Here comes Bozzetti with the roll, nobody in the way. And the defense showing up tonight for Fenerbahçe. A 1-point lead for the home side. Ball drops. Kiera Van Ryk. Again, a lot of responsibility on her shoulders to kind of balance out that offense of Markova. She gets 3 blockers up, but there's plenty of space there to find. Bozzetti, best server of the world champs in 2022. Can't find an ace there, but she will set it up for her team to make a big stuff block on the right side. It's an out-of-system play, and Fenerbahçe again off of 3 blockers, tries to go down the line and turn it outside. Bozetti again. Going deep on the Russian. And sitting in that defensive pocket. Here comes Markova. Conversion. What a defense. Bozetti making that play happen for her team. Right place, right time, and the rundown from Jansu to put it in play. Good choice by Markova, using the smaller blocker down the line. Fenerbahçe will take a sit down. Vargas, swing that's still in play. She'll go again cross court, and another good sit. Bozetti is making plays left and right. Back to Vargas. Another defense, Van Ryk. But the whistle is blown. The point goes back to Fenerbahçe. I think the net was called here, and indeed it was. Markova too aggressive on the block. Turcha. Here comes Van Ryk. No one stopping her, not even a single hint of a block down the line. So much space available to the Canadian. Meliha Tiken leaving that wide open. Yuan Xinyue, solid serve. Here comes Vargas again. Into the block. Markova finds a little bit of space underneath the defenders. Right under those arms. Have a look again. Just a hair, just an inch of space between the blocker's arms and the net, and she'll take it. Timeout called. Well, we talked a little bit about what's at stake, what's on the line. For Fenerbahçe, they need to win just 2 sets. But for VakifBank, their goal will be win at all costs. Doesn't matter if they do it in 3, 4 sets. They have to force a golden set tiebreak if they want a chance to get into the semifinals, the superfinals that'll be held in May here in Istanbul. Good serve there from Yuan Xinyue. Defense again from Bozetti. And Markova doing everything she can to bring that ball back in play. Hustle culture on VakifBank's side. Seven to 9. Fenerbahçe creeping back in. Fenerbahçe finds the middle, gets Bozetti on the ground with an ace serve for the home side. There is so much power behind this arm. Goes for it again. Similar spot, better work by the libero of VakifBank. Vargas into a big stuff. Nowhere but straight back down. And for Güneş, that is feeling extra good. Her national team teammate denied, low and tight at the net. The middle blocker feeling it. Two-point lead kept for VakifBank. comes Jansu. Drops it short on Gizem. Anna Cristina goes line, just avoiding Bozzetti in the defense. And I have a feeling that's got to be a strategy now going forward, where Bozzetti is not. That's where you want to put the ball. She's been doing a great job of cleaning things up, sweeping in the backcourt. Just make her move a couple of steps left or right. That's the goal here for Fenerbahçe. Markova, first contact, has to swing. Cross court, gets it done. Just enough spin on it. Very hard for Anna Cristina to control that ball. And here's the angle. Look how far outside the antenna she is and still manages to find something on it. Markova was the best server in Indonesia in 2024. You could see that pressure that she's going for, a float just above the net, the plane of the net. But again, this was what plagued VakifBank. Strong servers, but errors rather than aces, and you're out of balance. Better balance from Vargas, who's had 4 aces so far today. High ball tight, Anna Cristina, and that's pushed over from Durca. Doesn't find the floor. No touch called. Ball called out of bounds. VakifBank questioning whether or not the ball was in. Second challenge on the board. Question was whether or not the ball tagged the sideline. Hard to tell in real time. Called out pretty quickly. Let's have a look then. Indeed, it did tag the line just enough to get that ball back on VakifBank's side. Güneş. Big swing. Ball in play. And the angle again, trying to find the angle past the middle blocker in the defense. Always a good decision. VakifBank can still be relaxed. They can play their game. Fenerbahçe. 1 point down. Make that 2. Kiera Van Ryk. Will she find her rhythm here? Goes for it. Looks for Anna Cristina. That one doesn't drop. Outside Fedotseva. She's dug. Bozzetti tries to do something with it. It's a defensive play on Fenerbahçe's side. Turns in free ball. Yuan Xinyue underneath it. She'll get it back. And indeed the connection. Jansu and Yuan Xinyue. Perfection. You know, they're going to use her on the free ball more often than not, but Fedotseva jumping with the setter, and that's a great recognition by Jansu that she was going to be all behind. She was the best setter of the Euro Champs in 2023. Looking good here for VakifBank. Timeout called.
Okay, because if you are nervous or you are like this, it's difficult for them. Always take care in this situation. Maybe it's better to stay not far. Because you stay with middle blocker, it's okay. Everything is okay.
How does Fenerbahçe respond to a VakifBank that's found their fire? A 3-point lead. Van Ryk goes for the top spin again. The timeout works. And the point goes back into Fenerbahçe's pocket, down just by 2. Erdam Dundar, who again we did not even see in the last matchup between these two. Featuring heavily in all parts for Fenerbahçe today, as is Yuan Xinyue on the right side. I love that choice by Jansu, using her sparingly so that now she can be aggressive in her offense. (15-12) lead. Things slowing down then for Fenerbahçe, who finds the edge over the block. Markova trying to jump there with the setter, allowing 2 blockers on the outside. Good strategy. Doesn't pay off. On the outside, Markova, deep corner, nails it. One of the go-to players on VakifBank's side continues delivering. (16-13) lead, and drops it on the end line. An ace serve, Yuan Xinyue. When called on, delivering. What a point from the Chinese server between 2 players over the shoulder of Anna Cristina, and just tags it. Absolute perfection. Goes for the second one, same thing, gets the overpass, good enough. Tight from Jansu, one-handed set, and a 2 to throw from Markova. All things coming up VakifBank at the moment. How about that set? The spin throw at Jansu, feeling it. 17-13 lead. Anna Cristina, better contact, and Fenerbahçe able to turn it. Here comes Markova in response. She does the same, goes off the fingertips, and she is having a field day. There is just nothing Markova can't do in this set. Russian versus Russian. VakifBank coming out on top. Yuan Xinyue is an Olympic gold medalist from 2016. Again, a solid serve. Cross-court defense happening, and a good work in the middle. High ball has to go out to Vargas. Challenge called early. So a mid-rally challenge called by VakifBank. So I think they're looking for a net touch by Fenerbahçe at some point in that rally. Of course, we've already seen a couple of challenges for ball in or out. This one, a mid-rally challenge. So if it does not turn out to be what Coach Guidetti was looking for or looking at, then the point will go directly to Fenerbahçe. And there's the net touch, the official review. Beautifully seen by the coach, and that point will stay with VakifBank. So a 20-13 lead, 7 points Fenerbahçe have to make up here. Ball in play, through the middle, out of system. Markova goes for it, no one at the block. Vargas does the same. And what a hustle play, but it's Bozzetti who took the first defense. She cannot take the second. Faster than anyone else to get there, though. Have a look at this. First contact, one arm. She's running it down, hoping someone else could get there. Absolutely not going to happen. Fenerbahçe need to catch up here. Fedotseva from the service line will do her best to help, and that is golden. Another ace serve for the Russian server. Not even a full speed attack, but it's full angle. It is all the way from sideline to sideline. That is her specialty. Same thing. Bit more inside, causing some confusion. Cross court is dug. Christina, once again, perfection to the sideline. And have a look at that. Guidetti feeling the heat already. He's calling for a timeout because this is the kind of angle that is going to cause some stress on VakifBank's side. Well, if you're VakifBank, you got a 4-point lead at the moment. That's a good feeling. Certainly they'll be feeling safe, but they cannot let their foot off the gas, especially with someone like Fedotseva at the service line. And again, subtle reminder that Fenerbahçe must win just one more set if they want to advance. So VakifBank have to do everything in their power to disallow it. High ball behind Van Ryk. Looks for Durcha. There's the cross in the corner. Changing up her angles time after time. Anna Christina looking sharp, then looking deep. Even from that ball over her shoulder. So that's not a perfect set. Had to way out a system. 2 blockers up in her face. And she still manages to get it done, the Brazilian. Too much on it. Just out of bounds. VakifBank will take that gladly. The points just dripping towards the end line for the ladies in black. Jansu, who's been with VakifBank since 2016, puts her ball short. And the response adamant. Anna Christina, don't ask her twice to pass that short ball. Gets the speed from her setter in response, and there's nothing Güneş can do to get there in time. A one-on-one means basically a point Fenerbahçe. Need to serve again, Liza Safronova. Down by 3 is Fenerbahçe. Markova takes the first. And then she'll swing into hands. This Vargas Markova back and forth has been a fun match to follow. Fun little game within the game. Plenty to watch for. The 2 Russians going back and forth. That's been another one. Error for error. To 22. Pressure creeping in on both sides. Vargas, 4 aces early on, 3 in a row she had. Can she go for another one? Oh, almost gets an out of system play. And that cleans it up for Anna Christina on the outside. A pressure serve means a solid play for Fenerbahçe. Couple of changes again. Deria Chebecholu and Alifranti back into the mix. Those 2 were a good change for VakifBank in the last set. 20-22. Vargas again. Gets Franti on the floor, still in play. And it works out in VakifBank's favor. Cevecioglu, against all odds, finds the hands. Going up against one of the better blockers in the world, in Erdam Dundar. 23-20, Güneş. Goes for Anna Cristina. That ball's high on the outside. Blockers are there again. It's 3. It's a wall and another big hug. Well earned. Cevecioglu just creeping in for that 3-person block, and that is exactly what Guidetti put her in there for. Set point, VakifBank. Vargas way out of bounds, and VakifBank have done it. Another set in the books. Confusion reigning. Well, with that error in the last point, I believe it was a touch on the end line, on the middle line. Backcourt attack. So that point goes to VakifBank, 25-20. And they have won the third set, which means they are still alive in the fight towards the semifinals. Now, how does VakifBank start? They've got Cansu in as the first server. Set number 4 underway. VakifBank and Fenerbahçe facing off here in the quarterfinals. 2-1 have gone VakifBank's way. They'd like a third one. And that will help. 3 points for the visitors. Cansu drops one on Fedorseva. She's out of the offense, which means the block is solid on Vargas in a perfect position. That is a dominant showing from Güneş. That inside arm all day long. Cansu has 5 Champions League medals. She'd love to get herself in a position to get another one. Cross court, out of bounds, no touch, another point in the pocket of VakifBank. It's eerily quiet whenever VakifBank makes a point. This stadium full of Fenerbahçe fans, as you can see. Three-point lead here in the 4th set. Some questions being asked, some conversations being had. For VakifBank, the goal here, keep themselves focused, not to allow Fenerbahçe to confuse them. Here's the question: was there a block touch or not? No touch called. VakifBank keeps the point. Ball drops on Gizem. Tip on the outside. High ball again for Vargas. Again, it's tight. And one more time, the blocker is doing damage. You saw in the set statistics how well VakifBank have been doing in their block, and this is a perfect example. Sending one ball back and then hustling to the other side, and Markova taking care of business. The 2-meter right side attacker. 4-point start for Vakif. Count it. Oh, hang on, not yet. Not yet. It is not done. Too early. VakifBank expecting that point to be theirs. And Christina deciding it was not yet time. And the point stays, turns back around and goes to Fenerbahçe. As the Kalac looking for Bozetti. Another tight set, and this time Vargas cleans it up. And there's the music. There are the fans getting ready to be involved. Oh, way too tight. Not much Markova could do there. Kalac. She's looking for Bozetti again. Great first contact. Block in place. Hustle. But 2-3 players deciding that ball was not going back Fenerbahçe's way. Great contact defense there. Kiera Van Ryk on the floor and couldn't make another step. And so that point will go to Fenerbahçe. Cutting down the lead that VakifBank started with. Güneş tries to fire one into the deep corner. Again, both teams have been using their middle sparingly, and that's why it's so effective here. Erdam Dundar just one step late on Güneş. Markova back to the line. Almost an ace serve. Instead, it's a two-hand set from the middle. Van Ryk for touches. Defense there from Fedotseva. And it's Vargas again, back in her rhythm. High ball out of system through the arms of the blockers. Learned her lesson from the last time, not to try and go too sharp inside. Instead, targets the arms between the blockers. It's an overpass. It's as good as gold for the Yellow Angels. Vargas has been on her serving game today. 4 aces and probably just as many overpasses. We are tied up at 5s. Solid serve again, high out of system, way difficult rundown for Jansu. Vargas to the end line. The confidence that is growing in Melissa Vargas day by day and even minute by minute on court today. Just dripping in volleyball IQ. Another solid serve. That one's defended well. Bump set out of system. Into the hands of the blockers. Another try. And Christina can't do it 2 times of asking. Blockers have got her number today. How about that defense? Vargas does it all. Blocking has been the strength of VakifBank today. This is one of the things that has really put that pressure back on Fenerbahçe. serving and blocking all day long. The overpass this time on VakifBank's side. Ball dies just in front of Fenerbahçe. Another short serve. Back to Vargas, who powers it in, but it comes back. But the point called to Fenerbahçe. The net is moving somewhere, somehow. The point stays. We're tied up at 7s. Ooh. VakifBank can breathe. Sigh of relief, because it seems as though those dribblers have been happening all day long, one way or another. Kiera Van Ryk was the best scorer in the Turkish league last season. Gets Fenerbahçe out of system. Block is there again. Here comes Fenerbahçe one more time. Cross court dug. And another net touch called on the blockers. Have another look at this. Jansu and Yuan Xinyue. There was one touch there. Couldn't tell who it was between the two of them, but certainly the net was moving. 8s on the board. Scramble play. High ball for Bozzetti. Into the hand. Straight back down. Blocking now on the monster side for Fenerbahçe. As the Kalach getting the majority of that. Erdam Dundar, Champions League medalist, gold medalist in 2012. Ball out of bounds. Another point goes in Fenerbahçe's pocket. From the backcourt, Van Ryk goes straight past the arms of the blockers. Just too much height. Again, she's trying to avoid the blockers, and if she gets that little touch on it, that's what she's going for. So it looks like it's way out of bounds in real time, but again, those are the risks you have to take if you're an attacker, especially from that back court, to try and keep it away from the block, but just enough so that you might get a little fingertip. Well, there's a challenge on court for just that. Was there maybe a finger touch? Fenerbahçe doesn't think so. They're in position to serve. Oh, net touch was the challenge. And what a challenge indeed. High fives all around, because that is a golden point for VakifBank. That would have been a 2-point advantage for Fenerbahçe. We'll be back on solid ground, on even ground between these two teams. Fenerbahçe takes the first. Back to tip, that's picked up. Great work by Van Ryk. Has to come as a free ball. Kalach, she's there, outside again. Fenerbahçe is dug. One more time, can she put it away? No, the defense is too good on VakifBank's side. Converts to an attack, and that defense is there. Another one from Van Ryk. Trying to slow things down to Vargas, who again is dug. Bozzetti doing damage. And what a defensive play on VakifBank's side. Guidetti furious at the set called. Well, if you've been following the rules as volleyball's been shifting, there's a little bit more leniency in terms of setting, but it is still up to the discretion of the referee how much spin is on the ball, how much you're allowed to let it spin. I think he's frustrated because how good his team did in the defense there, and what a rally it was to end that way. A little disappointing, but still only worth 1 point. Fenerbahçe took it. And the serve. High out of system play. Big swing from Van Ryk. Gets the touch. Yes, she does. Point goes back VakifBank's way. There you can see the fingertips of Fenerbahçe wiggling on the front court. Everything on the line on this set. This is a must-win set. DJ just asking everyone to keep their cool, no stress needed. Easier said than done. This is an elimination match for one of these two teams here in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Fenerbahçe wants to be the one to eliminate VakifBank. They can do it with a set win here. Beautiful block. And some frustration creeping in. Timeout called.
And if we close, want to beat the blocker, we take the block. We need to use position 2 like we did until now. No, but she's closing the block. She's closing every time. There, no problem. There, attention there. Attention 6-1. Attention 6-1. We are doing good.
All the pressure back on VakifBank as Fenerbahçe have gained themselves a 2-point lead here in the fourth. Top spin serve with all the pressure still in play. Kizem underneath it, outside to Ana Cristina, who goes underneath the defenders. A huge swing. All the momentum and energy shifting back towards VakifBank's side. Fenerbahçe's side, excuse me. VakifBank have to try and stop them. Another good serve. Fenerbahçe continues putting the pressure on VakifBank, which in turn allows her blockers to do their job, which is get in position low and tight. Vargas and Kalac are all over it at the net. It's a domino effect at the moment. This solid serve coming from the Russian. He's forcing VakifBank way out of system, and that's allowing the blockers, Kalac a big part of it, to be ever present at the net. Sila Taliscan in for the set for VakifBank, and it pays off. High outside, goes down the line. Markova puts one past the blockers, just sneaks it inside Kalac and Vargas. Sila, the 28-year-old Turkish setter. She's looking for Ana Cristina. That ball's still in play. Fenerbahçe is kept up. Tight again. The work at the net is struggling. Vargas in her zone once again. She'll take that set all day long. (15-11) lead. Fenerbahçe creeping towards the end line. Liza Savnova back into serve again. Markova is targeted. And she manages to squeak it past. Fenerbahçe are targeting Markova over and over again. They're really making it tough on her in terms of becoming an offensive player in addition to passing that first ball. Twelve to 15, Markova looks down the middle, as does Erdam Dundar. Used sparingly, but to perfection. That one-legged ball behind just throws it off the hands of Güneş. 4-point lead retained. And Luku's up to serve. Melissa Vargas, multi-time acer in the first set. Good play from VakifBank. Swing from Van Ryk on the right side. Had to have some confidence, some clarity, and be bold to swing past Anna Kristina down the line. Out of system play. That ball's tight as well. 3 blockers are up. Chance for Van Ryk again. She'll tip it. One more time to Vargas on the right side. Goes just wide, no touch. And back within 2 are VakifBank. Here's a perfect look from the top. Vargas apologizing to her teammates. Typically excellent at handling those out-of-system balls. Ball's off the hands. Here comes Fenerbahçe from the backcourt. That's kept in play. Van Ryk goes for it. And it pays off. Yuan Xinyue, just right time, right place. There's the swing from Van Ryk. It's high enough, and from the ground, from her knees, still has the height to get past the defenders. Timeout called, down by 1 is VakifBank.
Because it's easy ball outside 3 meters. Then everyone has to be ready. On high ball, especially when we play super in 4. Manage, maybe we play 1 or 2 times and again. Main game now is ball for Markova or difficult situation for Van Ryk. Timing to jump on block. Timing.
Coach Fernolio recognizing the game right now is how do you slow down Markova. She is getting the majority of the points and the opportunities. In the first few sets, she had already 21 points, and she just keeps on racking them up. So how does Fenerbahçe stop her? That's a good start. Free point on Fenerbahçe's side. Now up by 2. Anna Kristina, who was a VNL silver medalist 2 times with Brazil. Looks for Markova in the backcourt. There's the swing on the right side. Van Ryk heats up her right arm. Van Ryk's been hit and miss today, but more hits than misses as of recent. Here comes the serve of the Canadian. Missed opportunity. VakifBank cannot afford to keep sending the balls out the end line. That's 2 in a row. And we talked about this being their Achilles heel in the first match. How many errors they had in the serve really came back to bite them. Tight situation, ball stays on the VakifBank side, which means a point for Fenerbahçe. More timeout called, down by 3.
Just putting you long. Tension, the seconds can be short. We can set and easy we play. We keep watching the ball.
Let's go!
(19-16), Fenerbahçe in the driver's seat here in the 4th set. Yuan Xinyue would love to change history as it's being written with a big swing down the line on the middle blocker on the other side. Perfect pass allows it. And the width of that set combined with no blocker taking the line. Back to a 2-point spread. Veti in the mix again. She'll head back to serve. She was the best outside of the VNL in 2022. Looks for a floater, drops it on Fedorovtseva. Doesn't matter though. The tides are turning and Fenerbahçe have all things pointing the right direction. Three-point lead. Markova has to take the first contact. She'll swing as well, just long. VakifBank look like they'd like to see a touch on that. I think we saw a thumbs up from Gizem as well, maybe admitting to that. Just a tickle. It has to be from Vargas. Indeed, it is called, and 2 points now between the two teams. Yuan Xinyue, solid. Free ball coming back. Opportunity for VakifBank to put it away. Markova does it deep in the corner. And it almost looked like Fenerbahçe just gave up on that point. A free ball at this level, the highest level between these two teams, you can almost just guarantee that's going to be a point for whoever gets it. Down just by 1. VakifBank with an opportunity. Yuan Xinyue, another solid serve and an ace on the line. The Chinese middle blocker doing damage and tying the score. What a time to get it. Floating, just dipping between two players. And we are tied up again. Another great serve. Anna Cristina stepping in to make sure it doesn't fall. Van Ryk sends it over. Free ball to Gizem and back out to Fedorovtseva. She's looking for a touch maybe. The ball's called out of bounds. I think we're gonna have a referee's challenge just to clarify. Coach Guidetti saying, "Ha toccato la rete dopo." She touched the net after the ball was already out. But Güneş convinced that she didn't touch the ball or the net. So we will see. We will see. That's exactly why we have this challenge system. Kalac looking like she's talking about no touch of the blocker's hands. Might we have a challenge of the challenge to look for a net touch? Or perhaps center line fault. Those are the two options that I'm hearing being discussed on Fenerbahçe's side. That could be the question. Of course, if the ball goes out of bounds, if it touches out on the floor before one of the players touches the net or touches the center line, then that's fine. But if the infraction happens before the ball contacts the floor, that's when the point will go the other direction. So we will see. as of right now, the point stands with VakifBank. Fenerbahçe are trying to fight it. That's what Guidetti is arguing. The ball touched the floor and then the infraction happened. So that's his stance and he's sticking to it. Now, I wish I could translate the Turkish for you. I have about 3 words of Turkish in my vocabulary. Günaydın, afiyet olsun, and çok güzel. None of which are helpful in this instance. Let's have a look. Ball is out and no net touch until the ball has at least touched the floor. And indeed, Coach Guidetti correct in his assessment of the situation. Point stays with VakifBank. Well, the crowd does not like that result, but it is 21-20 in favor of the visitors here in Istanbul. Yuan Xinyue with a pressure on her serve. But Zehra responds immediately. She has been absolute perfection all night long. Every single time that Fenerbahçe has called on this Russian hitter, she's been delivering. 21-21. All the pressure on VakifBank to finish this set. Good first contact. Van Ryk goes line, but it's wide. And the high fives for a super block presence at the net. Anna Christina leaving that line wide open. It's worked a time or two. And this time in favor of Fenerbahçe. 1-point lead for the home team. Posetti handles the first contact. Markova takes care of the rest. High and deep. Tied up again. Past the hands of 2 blockers, pretty much over Vargas. Vargas standing at 194, but Markova 2 meters tall, and that tiniest bit of height advantage, plus the athleticism, is what does it. Free ball situation. Markova again. A extremely calm Zehra Güneş does not take any risk on the overpass, just makes it a perfect situation for her team. She's looking at everyone saying, hey, calm, calm. We've got this under control, and it's a timeout, Fenerbahçe.
Use the break because in this moment is important. Remember only one thing, since they have another time. Transition, ball is important. We need to be ready to go sometimes 3 blocks, super important. This is the priority. With this setter, ball is shot. And the line is not possible. It's diagonal.
Coach Fenolio taking this timeout just to bring some composure to his side, because VakifBank 2 points away from taking this 4th and potentially deciding set. If VakifBank take it, we are going to a golden set, and anything could happen there. Vargas wants to make sure that doesn't happen. On the right side, Van Ryk will tip into the hands of the blocker. She stays out of the net. Markova gets it done on the outside, and another point goes VakifBank's way. With that swing, we have brought up set points VakifBank. All the energy has been sucked out of the crowd here in Fenerbahçe's home gym. Çalışkan on the serve for set point VakifBank. Ball is short. Anna Christina into the hands and out of bounds, saved 1 point. And all of VakifBank players with the one finger up. Hey, we need just one. That was a great choice to send that ball outside, cause some confusion in the block. Set point, VakifBank here in the fourth. Bozzetti takes the first. Back to Markova, and the block is good. A monster block, denying the Russian outside hitter, Erdam Dundar. And Melissa Vargas taking no prisoners, just delaying the emotions of the crowd. We are tied up at 24s. Solid serve. Markova again is used, but she's able to recover with the help of her teammates, refusing to let the ball die. Utilizing Markova's height again over the blockers just by a hair. And the celebration in the background there of the VakifBank players back up to match point. Ali Franti coming in, making this substitution we've seen a couple of times before. Markova in the backcourt, taken out, and the defense of Ali Franti relied on. So who's the go-to attacker now on VakifBank's side? They'll have to block first. Franti. Ball on the right side, it's Vargas, and she is denied! We are going to a golden set. Fenerbahçe have been denied. VakifBank are on cloud 9 after a huge stuff block. Güneş on Vargas saying, not today. All the pressure that was on VakifBank now turning around onto Fenerbahçe as we are going to a golden set. This is what you hope for. If you are a fan of Champions League, it happens once in a while, but when it does, it is so much fun. And here's how it was done. These two teams back and forth, and you saw some moments of momentum on each side, but ultimately VakifBank holding on and allowing themselves to push towards this golden set. Talk about a roller coaster of emotions. We are here for it. Two of the best teams, not only in Turkey, but also in the world of volleyball. VakifBank and Fenerbahçe, rivals, derby day. And are we surprised that we're going to a golden set? Absolutely not. Fenerbahçe dominating the first round 3-0. And now here in Fenerbahçe's gym, VakifBank have scrapped their way back to hold on and win in 4 sets. And now we're going to a golden set. And this means we are playing 15 points, and that is it. You have to win by 2 as usual. But this has typically gone VakifBank's way every time they've met in a tie-break situation here in the Champions League. 2 times they have had to do this in a golden set, and it's both times gone VakifBank's way. So Fenerbahçe trying to battle against history today. Here's a look at what's happened so far. Have a look at how close these points are. 70-72. Aces exactly the same. The attacks right there, thereabouts. And the blocks just a couple more on VakifBank's side, but it really gives you an idea of how well matched these 2 teams are. And you've seen bits of momentum. You've seen highs and lows. You've seen aces and errors. You've seen swings, just cross-court crushes and balls that have gone way out of bounds. So you know there's a bit of everything. You know that both these teams can be dominant and or struggle. So I'm watching out for who's starting with the most momentum and who has the confidence to continue it the entire set long. Yuan Xinyue was an absolute game changer at the end there for VakifBank. A couple of strong serves, one of them an ace, but she put VakifBank in a position to really push towards the end there, which will be held here in Istanbul. We are officially underway with the golden set here between Fenerbahçe and VakifBank. One of these teams moving on from the quarterfinals, and they will play in the superfinals. Who's it going to be? We will find out. First point is a nail biter. The defense is all over it, both sides, but it's Vargas. Comes out on top on the right side for Fenerbahçe. Well, they had to earn it. Nothing given up there in that point. Zehra on the service line. Here comes the top spin. Well handled, perfection, just ever so slightly low. Perhaps Güneş a little tight on the net as well, trying to snap that ball, just missing out of bounds, and the point goes back to Fenerbahçe. Two-point lead. Home team bringing the energy in the crowd as well. Markova into hand, she's recycled. Here comes Van Ryk on the right side. And that ball tags the line, and VakifBank through Markova's arm get themselves on the board. Well, the challenge here for either team is not let the other team get any string of points. You gotta go back and forth, you gotta keep it tight. If you allow a little bit of gap, 15 points just is not enough time to make up that gap. Floats it. She goes deep on Aykaç. The response from Van Ryk is too wide, and it is a 4-1 lead already by Fenerbahçe. Just spinning past Ana Cristina, and that strategy has paid off time and time again. They are just leaving that line open for Van Ryk, just forcing her, baiting her to try and take it. Better contact from Güneş, up. Going again, change of direction, Dürtsch's there. But the block in response, Güneş has a little bit of joy. Couldn't get it done in the offense, had to turn around and make herself a blocker. One defense here. Next time she is in position next to her blocker. Oh, what a defense. Markova keeps it in play. Cebeçoğlu, that one's not falling. Vargas will make sure it finds the floor. The Terminator on the right side with absolutely nothing stopping her and this ball from connecting with the floor. A 5-2 lead. Here comes Vargas from the backcourt. Does she nail it? Yes, she does. An ace serve, and what a time to get it. She had all the joy in set number one. Went a little quiet, but there it is again. That is the Vargas specialty. Well, an immediate timeout called to slow that momentum. Vargas with a fire under her. Looking for another ace serve. This time handled better by VakifBank. Van Ryk goes cross court, and she will swing it. And that's enough, first of all, to get Vargas off the line. Second of all, to get the point back in VakifBank's favor, forcing Fenerbahçe to play some defense. Van Ryk unleashes her serve, and it's out of bounds. An ace serve for Van Ryk. Just by a hair. I was holding my breath for that result. Just enough. What an ace serve. What a time. Van Ryk, one of the biggest shoulders in terms of serving power you're going to see on court today. What a time to get an ace. Does she go for another one? Oh, Guidetti almost running on court to make sure that that was called. And in fact, you have to call it both ways. I think that's going to be the discussion there. We saw Jansu get called on a set infraction earlier on, so it's got to go the other way as well. And a 6-5 lead means VakifBank are on the comeback. It's tight. Cleaned up. Anna Cristina making mincemeat of it. Zehra doing really well to carry Yuan Xinyue, to force her to pay attention. That's what Zehra's done by being part of the offense herself this entire set. Entire match, I should say. 2-point lead. Cut down. Just 1 point in it. All the pressure. VakifBank here in Fenerbahçe's home gym. Short ball handled well. Here comes Fenerbahçe. She's denied. The block is feeling it today. Jansu teaming up with Yuan Xinyue. Have a look at this movement. Low and tight. There is no space there. And Jansu, typically a smaller blocker. That's a good place to aim if you're Fenerbahçe, but denied. Tied up at sevens. Fenerbahçe swinging higher, harder this time, get past the block, finding the end line. All the players just indicating no need to challenge, that ball's in. See perfectly well from that overhead angle that we have here in the gym. It's an 8-7 lead now, Fenerbahçe just by a hair, and they will change ends. No timeout, no talking to the coaches, just straight back onto the court. And Erdam Dundar in the serving position. We have seen VakifBank come back. We've also seen Fenerbahçe do the same. Who will prevail? We are halfway through this golden set. Erdam Dundar goes deep with her serve. Ball's back to Xinyue. And Bozetti's there underneath it. It's coming back. Yes, it is still in play, Van Ryk. What a rundown. Chance again on the outside and another pickup from Bozetti. High ball situation, Markova in a tough spot. Somehow it's Vargas to swing and out of bounds. VakifBank with some incredible defense. Bozetti on another level, and watch this rundown, Van Ryk deciding she will not give up on it. Vargas forced to swing it high, and that is a point VakifBank that they will be feeling for hours to come. Tied up at 8. Fenerbahçe denied, not yet. She'll play again. It goes long again. No touch. VakifBank have that point. This is a very different look at VakifBank than we saw in the first match. Bozetti is patrolling the end line. Momentum has shifted. 9-8 now, VakifBank on the top. They're looking for Fenerbahçe, and it's out, and a serve again. Yuan Xinyue is saving grace for VakifBank. The same thing she did in the end of set number 4. Bringing it here in the golden set. Timeout called, up by 2 is VakifBank.
Side ball in the middle of the court, 3 meters. Both can manage the situation. Don't be worried for that.
Somehow, some way, VakifBank have sneaked their way back into the driver's seat. A 2-point advantage, just 5 points to go to get themselves this golden set. Yuan Xinyue, dominant from the end line. Floats it again, same corner. Fenerbahçe has to handle it. Durcha has been quiet, but she's always been waiting, lurking in the wings, and that is her specialty. When no one's paying attention, she'll get herself the point. The 36-year-old Serbian setter on the line to serve. Finds Bozetti. There's a tip from Güneş. Comes back over. Van Ryk off the hands, gets it done. And another 2-point lead. The spread just enough to keep VakifBank feeling confident. Jansu just moving that ball around the net. She's now backcourt. 3 attackers on her side. Same thing on the other side. Back around to Fenerbahçe. It's tight and it's covered. Another tight set to Varga. She can't handle it. Over. Blockers doing double work. Vargas one more time, and the defense good from Jansu. It's finally Van Ryk who squeezes it past the blockers. The hustle actions happening on VakifBank's side are exactly what's keeping them in this match. 12-9, 3-point lead. The golden set is for the taking of VakifBank. What's Vargas have? Nothing. Denied. Sent packing by Güneş and Markova at the net. And this is a turn that we could not possibly have expected. You're a VakifBank fan. You are on your feet at the moment. With their backs against the wall, VakifBank look like they're going to do something so special here today. Fenerbahçe picked up by Bozetti, and Markova goes into the hands, and it is not coming back. Markova has been relentless today, an absolutely unstoppable force. Whether she's going high, going cross, or into the hands and out of bounds, this is one for the ages. Here in Fenerbahçe's home gym, VakifBank have match point on the golden set. Fenerbahçe with the overpass, and Güneş wanting it too much. Almost too easy for her. Trying to put the angle where the net was, but still a 4-point lead. Match point of the golden set. High ball to the outside. It's Markova. She goes into the hands. Recycle. Tight ball falls. Fenerbahçe are not going quietly. Well, it's been a little scrambly as of late. And I think I heard that whistle blow and a timeout called for VakifBank.
Everybody to mistake, and we recover. Next ball down. Confident.
A 3-point lead, but not yet in the bag. VakifBank with work yet to do. A couple of errors in a row, and they are letting Fenerbahçe back into the game. Golden set, match point. VakifBank ready to receive Fenerbahçe on the service line. It goes out of bounds. It is done. VakifBank, against all odds, have won the golden set here in Fenerbahçe's home gym. They have stunned their Turkish rival here in Istanbul. If you had told us just a couple of days ago that this would be the outcome, you couldn't possibly have believed it. What a victory for VakifBank. The crowd silence absolutely deafening. Fenerbahçe had this match in their hands. They had all the momentum after the first one. They won 3-0 in VakifBank's gym. Coming into this match, they needed to win just 2 sets to move on. VakifBank sneaking it out. And Giovanni Guidetti never losing faith in his team, in his staff, in this team, in this club that has such a history of winning. They have beaten Fenerbahçe 5 times before in a tie-break Champions League match. 2 times they had to do it in a golden set, and they've done it again today. Well, an enormous performance by one player in particular, Marina Markova, with a huge action for her team. Coming to this golden set, she had 30 points, put another 2 on there in the golden set, but she is one of the huge reasons that VakifBank were able to come through here today. Guidetti knows it more than anyone.